It wasn't so long ago that scenes like this were a common sight in rural communities all across Canada. People lived their lives at a slower pace, took more time, and very often more care at making things. Their enjoyments were a lot less complex, and somehow a lot more wholesome and satisfying. Words like high-tech and mass production had yet to become part of their vocabulary. In the beautiful rural setting of Armstrong, British Columbia, there's a place that still upholds the traditional values and time-honored ways of times gone by making cheese the slow, unhurried way. Say cheese, and you've got a perfect picture of the Village Cheese Company in downtown Armstrong. It's the place to experience the art and joy of cheesemaking, and the only place in town where you'll find master cheesemaker Ivan Matt. If you're lucky and time permitting, he'll take you on a personal factory tour and cheese tasting.
Both my grandfathers were cheesemakers, my dad, and I have a brother that's in the cheese business, so I grew up in the cheese plant, much like...
Cheese has been made since ancient times. More recently, though, a lot of the old skills and cheese-making methods have given way to the demands and practices of today's industrial dairies, which call for fast-track methods of processing and production, shortcuts the old-timers would frown on. We think it's time to take the time clock out of cheese-making and the shortcuts, and return to the joy of producing this wonderful, versatile food at a more leisurely pace. At the Village Cheese Company, our cheesemaker shows you why his 27 years of experience makes a difference, and how his knowledge of the ancient craft of cheesemaking creates products of exceptional quality. His goal is to nurture the old traditions, to give you a taste of good old-fashioned goodness and flavor in every cheese he makes. The journey begins in the lush and rolling green pastures that surround the rural community of Armstrong. Unlike large cheese producers who must buy their milk from many sources, the Village Cheese Company knows exactly which dairy herd its milk comes from. A prize-winning herd at that, known throughout the region as a premium producer of fresh, whole milk. When it arrives at our Armstrong facility, the fresh milk is transferred to a holding tank. Milk for most types of cheese is now pasteurized and heated for 16 seconds to 72 degrees Celsius or 162 degrees Fahrenheit. But today we're making old cheddar, and for traditional old cheddar the way we make it, pasteurization is not required, as any undesirable bacteria is safely destroyed during old cheddar's extended aging period. Cheese made from unpasteurized milk is also considered to have better flavor and aroma, two attributes the Village Cheese Company is famous for. To make cheddar cheese, our prize-winning raw milk is gently heated to 63 degrees Celsius, then cooled to 32 degrees Celsius before entering the sanitized stainless steel cheese-making vat. Special cultures are now added that produce lactic acid, an essential ingredient that helps give our cheddar that distinctive flavor and aroma. If required, a natural botanical food coloring is also added at this time. A rennet-free coagulating enzyme is then carefully blended into the milk, which acts as a natural thickener. The mixture is left undisturbed until the cheesemaker determines that the milk has reached the right degree of thickness and texture. A razor-sharp stainless steel wire grid is now drawn through the vat, cutting the mixture into quarter-inch curds. Under the watchful supervision of the cheesemaker, the vat's contents are now gently heated and carefully cooked to 39 degrees Celsius. By constantly taking samples of whey and noting color changes in the acidity tester, the cheesemaker determines how well the all-important lactic acid is developing. Years of experience tell him exactly when to move to the next step. Special stainless steel rakes are now used to separate the curd from the whey, which is now drained from the vat. This is the stage where the remaining cream can be separated from the whey to make whey butter. Just as in days gone by, nothing is wasted when we make our cheese, and surplus whey is used by farmers to feed their livestock. As the remaining whey drains away, the curd is stacked along the sides of the vat and covered to keep the curd warm and promote development of lactic acid. This is the start of the actual cheddaring process, part of which is unique to Canada, and the reason traditional Canadian cheddar commands such a high place among cheese lovers the world over. Over the next 2 hours, the curd is continually turned and restacked until the cheesemaker determines the exact moment that the cheddaring process is complete. The curd is now fed through a curd mill that transforms it into the product known as cheese curd. Salt is now added as a preservative and to enhance its flavor. Salt also expels any remaining whey. The result, less moisture remains in the curd. Fresh cheese curd is a very popular item both in our store and with our wholesale customers. So every time we make cheddar, we set aside enough to meet our daily needs. All the remaining curd from the vat is now weighed and transferred into food-grade cheesecloth-lined containers called hoops. These are laid end-to-end on a special hydraulic press. Because whey ferments and turns bitter when left in cheese, our cheesemaker strives to push out and extract as much whey as possible. Whey adds unnecessary weight to many of today's cheese products. Keeping with tradition, we also produce impressive 90-pound wheels in cheesecloth-lined hoops. Next day, the blocks of fresh cheddar are removed from the hoops, then sealed, weighed, and boxed. Wheels of cheese are carefully sealed in wax, these days a rarely seen procedure, that helps retain traditional cheddar's unique flavor. The cheese is now left to age in our temperature-controlled storage vault. After reaching the desired ripening age, anything from 3 months to 3 years, the cheese blocks are unpacked and cut into various size and shape configurations. They are then packaged for distribution and for sale in our store. The Village Cheese Company is a wonderland of tasty treats, of sights and sounds that take you back to another era, to a time when a wheel of tangy cheese was as close as your local dairy, when the butter on your table was churned from farm fresh cream a few hours back, when a dip in the old swimming hole couldn't beat a scoop of homemade ice cream. Yes, this is the place to discover good time cheese and ice cream. Along with our tasty cheddars, Master Cheesemaker Ivan Matt offers you an outstanding selection of other traditional cheeses, and we package them every which way you want, for display in a deli, gift shop, a fancy cheese shop, a fine grocery store. We even customize gift baskets and create reward presentation packages for those special occasions. Here you'll find our delicious baby Swiss, versatile Parmesan, scrumptious mozzarella, tempting German butter and Havarti, and flavorful Monterey's. All of our cheeses are made from traditional recipes using standard cultures and no age-enhancing additives. And our famous cheddar cheese is produced the traditional Canadian way. No so-called American stirred curd for us. And as we explained earlier, the low moisture content in many of our cheeses means more real cheese and less unwanted whey. No wonder our customers say we're setting the cheese industry back 70 years. We're mighty proud about getting back to the basics of honest-to-goodness cheese making, and we continue to do all we can to keep Canada's great cheese-making traditions alive and well. So next time you hunger for a perfect picture of an old-time cheese company, simply say cheese and capture Armstrong's very own Village Cheese Company, where cheese is still made in the traditional and time-honored way of times gone by.